Says the webinar is started.
And we're just waiting for the live stream to start. Here we go.
This is sacred ground. It is tortured ground. And on Thursday night, it's going to be a place of murder. A murder that doesn't have to happen, but one that has happened now over and over and over again under a supposed pro-life governor that could stop any of these murders with a phone call.
There is no redemption with the death penalty. There is no hope with the death penalty. We pray that Governor Bill Lee will live up to what he writes on Twitter.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Christians, we are the problem. The death penalty would not stand a chance in America if it weren't for the support of Christians. 95% of executions are happening in the Bible Belt. So we are raising up our voices, right? To stand up for mercy, to stand up for life.
We won't be silent anymore. Everybody say somebody's hurting our children and it's gonna far too long.
And good morning. Well, bad morning, actually. Greetings and welcome, and thank you for being with us. I'm sort of Zoom jockeying on my own today, so I've got just a couple of little things I need to do as we get going, but we're glad you're with us. And what I want you to know is that this is, here we have yet another execution going on. My name is Abe Bonowitz with Death Penalty Action, and this morning, there's an execution in Tennessee, this evening in Florida. And let's see, and we're just gathering everybody together. I'm just sending a link now to our friends at outside of the prison. Here we are. Okay. And so everybody that is speaking today is speaking for themselves or their own organization, unless they are staff or board of Death Penalty Action. Also, this is a safe place for people who oppose the death penalty. So if there's any opposition to what we're up to in the chats on the live stream or in the audience here on the Zoom, there will be no warnings. Such folks will be automatically dismissed. And that's also why it's hard for us when people raise their hands and want to say something. We've been burned in the past, so we only bring onto the platform people that we know and have a sense of what they're going to say. So with that, as we always do, I want to begin with remembering the alleged victim. Tony Carruthers maintains his innocence, has evidence that should be tested. We're going to hear more about that, but there is a victim in this case. Somebody was murdered, and we're going to begin, as we always do, with remembering the victim. And that is led for us by Cantor Mike Zusman.
Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you. Cantor Michael Zusman with the thousands of members of L'chaim, which means to life. Jews Against the Death Penalty, a project of death penalty action with thousands of members, like I said, throughout the world, including Israel. We stand with you against state-sponsored murder in all forms, including the 3 scheduled for this week. If you're watching this video, it means that one of those 3 is about to take place. This one in Tennessee, that of Tony Carruthers, our pen pal, with whom we've been in touch since he received his date months ago, and someone who was not guilty of this crime. We always remember the victims, innocent or guilty, and we always remember the people who have been impacted by the horrific crime that led to this day. I ask you now to turn your attention to the 3 individuals who are remembered today. They are Marcellos Anderson, born March 23rd, 1972. His mother, Delois Anderson, born January 15th, 1951, same year as my own mother. And Frederick Tucker, who I could not find dates for the birth of Frederick Tucker, but they were all murdered on March 3rd, 1994, in Memphis, Rose Hill Cemetery. They are never forgotten. I'll offer a prayer now for them from my own Jewish tradition. It's in Hebrew, asking that their souls be bound up in the sacred bond of life eternal under the wings of Shekhinah, the divine. And I ask you, no matter your background, beliefs, to turn your thoughts and energy to them now. El malei rachamim shochen bamromim hametzei menucha nechona tachat kanfei השכינה במעלות קדושים ודהורים כזוהר לקיים מזהירים את נשמות מרסלוס אנדרסון ואת אמו דלואה אנדרסון ואת פרדריק טאקר שהלכו לעולמם בגן עדן תהא מנוחתם אנא בעל הרחמים בסתר כנפיך לעולמים וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם אדוני ונחלתם וינוח בשלום על משכבם ונאמר Zichronam livracha, may their beloved memories, that of Marcellos Anderson, his mother Delois Anderson, and Frederick Tucker, be an everlasting blessing, and may their abiding spirits be loving guides for all who were privileged to know them. May their loved ones be comforted among all the mourners of the world. May no more blood be shed in their sacred names, and may all the killings end. L'chaim.
Thank you, Cantor Zusman, and good again. Welcome everybody. Glad you're here. Please introduce yourselves where you're watching from in the chat. I want to bring on now Reverend Kevin Riggs, who is with us from outside the protest area in the prison. Kevin, we're glad you're able to join us today. Can you turn your camera to see if it changes? Or if you've got it set up, don't worry about that. It just fills.
Yeah, well, they got us parked somewhere different, Abe, so you can't really see anything, and it's rainy. So
got it.
So we're along the side of a new road they built, so there's really not anything to show you. But cars.
No, I was just looking to see if you turn your camera, it fits the Zoom screen better, but that's okay.
Oh,
Thanks for being with us,
yeah.
and thanks for being there, Kevin. What I know. Well, please describe for people that have never been part of one of these in Tennessee. What's the space there, and also what's it been like being in Tennessee while there's been this huge fight to try to stop this execution.
Yeah, there has been a huge fight. I mean, we do believe that Tony is innocent, and but there are various things that went on at the original trial, including that he was forced to defend himself, and then there's some DNA evidence that has never been tested. The main witness is co-defendant who said that Tony did it, later recanted and said he had nothing to do with it. And so, the ACLU's been involved, but all of it's gone so far unheeded. Governor Lee, the Supreme Court, everyone has denied Tony. I knew Tony a little bit. I talked to him a couple times. But he was really good friends with KB, who I work with there in death row. And but it's just a sad day, and it's the first of 4 this year. There's another one in August, and another one in September, and then one in December. But I don't know why we keep doing this. It doesn't do any good, and it just brings more grief and more hurt to everyone involved. So it's just kind of a sad day. The rain makes it even sadder, it seems like. And of course, where we are, they won't let us bring in umbrellas. So that's a small price to pay. That's a small price to pay, though. And the place that they have us for, they call it a protest. It's not a protest. This is a prayer vigil. We protest on doing other things. But they put us in a fence so far away from the building, you can't see the building where the execution is taking place. And on one side of the fence are those who quote protest. On the other side of the fence are those who are in favor. And that's how when I stopped at the security and I said, I'm against, I'm here because I'm against the death penalty. The state trooper looked at the other state trooper. Well, she actually asked me, she said, are you here to protest? Or are you in favor? And I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't even sound right. You're making us the bad people already, saying we're protesters when we're just praying for an end to this madness. And usually there's about 40 people here with us, and there's usually only 1 or 2 who are on the other side of the fence who are in favor of the death penalty. So far more people come out who oppose it than who support it, and that's always an encouraging sign. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. And not just here, but just all across the country. So it's just another sad day and a sad reminder of the reality of the evil that goes on in the name of justice and in the name of the state. And so just I appreciate that Hebrew prayer, and the song is beautiful. So thank you for that. And but anyway, I've got to get out there, man, because I got all the paperwork to get everybody involved in the prayer vigil. But I appreciate this time, Abe. Appreciate all you do. Appreciate all you do.
Well, we're grateful. And just before you go, just know that you are not standing alone out there in the field. All of you that are there, there's people prayerfully protesting from around the world with us together. Can you show us your T-shirt so people can see a bit more?
Yeah, this is from you guys. I think the original artwork, someone was Shane Claiborne, wasn't it? But it's Jesus in an electric chair, and just to me, just a real powerful image. I wore one of your shirts all day yesterday, Abe, and people were coming up to me, what's that about? And I'm like, well, there's an execution tomorrow, and people aren't even aware that this stuff's going on.
Amen. Thank you for being there again. And when it's all over, if you can see if we're still going, come back and share again.
I will.
And hopefully the rain holds off. And as Sister Helen says in her prayer, the rain falls on the just and the unjust.
That's right. That's right. And just so people know, I mean, used to, they let us take our cell phones and everything into the area where the vigil is, but they stopped that back about a year or so ago, and so we can't take anything but our driver's license into the field. So we can't record what's going on at the prayer vigil, or else we would.
Yes, yes. Well, we're grateful that you took the time to be with us today, and hopefully we'll see you back after we get word of maybe a stay, but more
Yeah.
likely word of a time of death. So,
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you, and go
Thank you.
well.
All right. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us again. If you've just joined us, please introduce where you're watching from, and all. And we're grateful to be joined now by Rob Dunham from the Death Penalty Policy Project to fill us in on what's happening in this case and whatever else Rob wants to share with us is in the space that we're in today with the second of 3 executions this week. Thanks, Rob, for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Abe. You've heard some of the details, but let me just go over a couple because this is part of an emerging or an emerged pattern in the United States where people who are very likely innocent are being executed without necessary testing being done that could prove that the state is executing the wrong person. In Tony Carruthers' case, there is no physical evidence that links him to the murder. In addition, the evidence that supposedly linked him is a statement of an informant who has later indicated that he was paid for his testimony and that he testified falsely. Tony Carruthers has significant mental health issues, and at the time of trial, he was not. He was represented by court-appointed counsel, and there was a complete breakdown in communications between Mr. Carruthers and counsel, and he wanted them out. He wanted new lawyers, and the court said no, and essentially forced him to represent himself. After he represented himself, the state presented false testimony from a medical examiner claiming that the victims were buried alive, and they were not. But that evidence greatly inflamed the jury and contributed greatly to the imposition of the death penalty in this case. There is DNA evidence and fingerprint evidence that is available that could have been tested. And if it were tested, it could have and likely would have shown that Mr. Carruthers had nothing to do with this crime. So, at a minimum, Tennessee is willfully ignorant of facts that could show that they're executing an innocent person and facts that could stop this execution. This isn't the first time that Tennessee has disregarded the law and disregarded available evidence to go forward and execute a person who's innocent. In the case of Sedley Alley, there was a new DNA statute that was passed, and the courts decided that it did not apply to him, and so they would not test the DNA. That would have proven he was innocent. In the next case that came up, they said their decision in his case was wrong, and that DNA testing should have been allowed. But as we hear very often, in a capital case, when you make a mistake, you can't bring somebody back from the grave. This is not the only case of innocence that we've had very recently. And we can look at cases in Missouri, in Texas, in South Carolina, in Florida, in Oklahoma, and have grave doubts as to whether they execute innocent people. And let me amend that. I don't have grave doubts. I think in each of those cases, the states have executed people who are innocent. And we have numerous people who are also innocent who are in jeopardy of execution today in other states. So let's be clear about this. The greatest fear in a capital case is that the state is going to kill somebody who's innocent. Tennessee is doing that, and they're doing it with willful disregard as to the facts. There are serious questions as to whether the death penalty is moral in any circumstances. But when it's left in the hands of governments who do not give a damn about whether they are killing somebody who is innocent or not, that tells you all you need to know about what the death penalty is about and why it needs to stop.
Abe, I'd like to respond just to question, my dear friend. Uh,
Before you do, can
so
you introduce yourself a little bit?
I forgot. I've already been given that instruction. I apologize. My name is Reverend Dr. Jeff Hood. I'm a spiritual advisor to death row inmates around the country and founder of the Execution Intervention Project. Rob, I just am. I mean, I think people are starting to make the argument that there is no such thing as habeas relief. For 99.25.5% of these folks, if we're talking about a system that is categorically unfair, categorically in a place where somebody like Tony Carruthers cannot get relief, what are our options? I mean, what is the next step? I mean, because I do feel like we are constantly, and it's not just you, it's experts around the country who are saying, you know, this continues to happen. And I guess I'm finding myself exasperated of oftentimes I think I want to blame the lawyers, but ultimately I don't know that it's completely the lawyers' fault because they're involved in a system that is unbelievably stacked against them. So I guess what I'm just trying to ask is, what do we do? Where do we go from here?
And first of all, I would say that it is rarely the fault of the lawyers who are trying to save the lives of the defendants at the end stage. It is very often the fault of state systems that have provided ineffective representation or meaningless resources, absence of resources at the time of trial. We have seen that when states provide meaningful counsel, the number of death sentences plummets. It disappeared in my hometown in Philadelphia. It disappeared in New York. It virtually disappeared in Georgia, and it has dropped precipitously the number of death sentences in Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, where institutional defenders are now available. So it is the states that have provided poor representation early on and have failed to enforce the Constitution in the courts that are going forward with these executions. Yesterday, there was an execution in Arizona. Arizona has a long history of providing inadequate representation at trial and inadequate representation in state post-conviction proceedings. And then when the United States Supreme Court in Shin versus Arizona said that you're stuck in federal court with the evidence that was raised, or more appropriately wasn't raised in state court, then it means that when you get good lawyers who uncover the facts, there's nothing you can do about that. Who's at fault? Well, who's at fault for electing the people who are in Congress? Who's at fault for gerrymandering the districts so that people who are elected to Congress don't represent the communities they are supposed to serve? What we're looking at is a very significant failure in the governing structure of the United States. And that's an existential issue. So is there a solution? The solution is to elect people who are going to do the right thing. The question is there a viable mechanism to do that? That's above my pay grade. But what I would say is that habeas corpus, as it has been interpreted by this United States Supreme Court, has been eviscerated. And does it still exist? Yes, it does to some degree. But the degree to which it exists depends upon the personnel who are in the courts in the various different states. If you come from a state that has a long history of disregarding the law, of using the law as a weapon of oppression, of enslavement, lynching, Jim Crow segregation, then you are likely not to get a fair trial. You are likely not to get a fair appeal. You are likely not to get a fair judge who is going to review the facts that get presented when counsel who is competent is available to present them. If you are in a jurisdiction in which there are good lawyers who are appointed to cases early, when there are judges who do not have a history of racial and economic bias, then you have a significant chance to win in state and federal post-conviction proceedings. So it's a question of where you live, It's a question of who is in the courts. It's a question of what are the political whims of the prosecutor in the jurisdiction where the case is going forward. And all of that is completely arbitrary. All of that, I think, underscores why we are systemically incapable of operating a death penalty system in a manner that is fair and defensible.
So we have a legal lynching going on here, in a way, and of course, if anybody that's watching politics in Tennessee right now knows that they just kind of wiped they gerrymandered the whole state for Republicans, and they've kicked all the Democrats off of all the committees. I mean, it's just insane what is happening, and it goes to what you were saying, Rob, such that we can win elections, or such that elections can be fair and be representative of all the people. That's in question these days.
Yeah, the death penalty is not being carried out in the United States. It's being carried out in the Confederate States. And I say that deliberately because when we look at who has been carrying out executions, more than 95% of them in the last, I think it's now 5 years, have been carried out in states that were members of the former Confederacy, that had slavery at the time of the Civil War, or that the Confederacy claimed as members, or they were in territories where enslavement was still permitted. These are all states that have a legacy of discrimination. They're all states that have a legacy of violence as a tool of government, and that is inappropriate. It's morally offensible. It's morally indefensible, and it's also just the reality.
Wow.
I had a brief thought, and I'm very brief. It does feel like we have reached a point where there has to be conversation beyond. I mean, I'm not sitting here arguing for the overthrow of our government or our courts, but I am saying it feels like we have gotten to a point where there is need for tremendous creativity. And if we're going to continue to operate in a system that continues to make us, fight back with two hands tied behind our backs, I don't see how we can continue doing it the same way.
Let me put it to you this way. If anybody is a fan of, I guess, is it the Marvel Universe? Captain America, when he is still very wimpy, gets beaten up, and he says, "I can do this all day." In a lot of respects, that's where Capitol Council are. But the point is, if you want to save lives, you have to fight in that arena. And you have to stay willing and be able to fight in that arena. It may be completely unfair. In many cases, the result may be preordained, but there are lives that can be saved. And there's an obligation to try to do that. And in some instances, we are able to do that. So I agree with you, Jeff, that this is a problem that's way above any of our pay grades. But it's an existential problem for the judicial process in the United States. It may be an existential problem for the United States as a whole. But you cannot, even when the odds are unfairly stacked against you, you cannot remove yourself from the fray. You have to be present if you are going to be able to save anybody's lives. And that's what the Capitol lawyers are doing today.
Well, I'm thankful for you, Rob. I really am. You give us a lot of hope.
And thank you, Rob. And let's take a quick break to hear a song and shift us into a little bit more of a prayerful space. And maybe we can hear more about Tony himself. I know Jeff has had some encounters with him, and we'll hear from Lauren, and we'll see if others join us. But just for a moment, let's shift gears. This is Brendan Pfeiffer.
I'm losing my discretion. I'm tired of this fight. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. I venerate the temple, then I say goodbye. Life is fragile, life is fragile, but you are not random, you are loved. The matter is corrupted, yeah, the argument seems lost. Life is fragile, life is fragile. Fools like us keep reaching for the bottom of the cross. Life is fragile, life is fragile. But you are not random. No, you are not random. No, you are not meaningless, not lost, not gone forever. No, you are not random, you matter, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved.
Thank you. I appreciated Jeff's comment in the chat there. For people that are watching on the live streams, we're grateful to all of you. And I'm having trouble translating the chat from the Zoom to the chats in the social media stream, so I apologize for that. But Jeff was just noting, and I think it's appropriate, that there's the legal arena, and then there's everybody else that is not in the legal arena, and we have to respect what's happening in the legal arena and recognize that is, as Rob said, you got to show up and play where on the court that exists. Right? He didn't say it that way, but basically we can't not go through the process. But that doesn't change what the rest of us can do, and that means bearing witness, as we are doing right now. I mean, this does not stop executions, to stand and pray, and to be together in a space like this. These vigils are about being together in a space where we can all be prayerful, be protestful, be however we want to be, together with fellow abolitionists. We can tell the stories, and we must, and we have to start doing it a lot earlier. Is one thing that I would say. One of the challenges that we have is with so many executions, and there's only so much bandwidth in our movement. But at the end of the day, if we were telling Tony, I'm sure people were telling Tony's story last year and the year before, but nobody knew about it. Nobody hears about most of these cases until an execution is imminent. And we have to figure out, how do we raise, especially the cases where there's possibility that public pressure can make a difference, how do we raise them far earlier and get more people educated far earlier? And then be more creative about, I'm excited about the different organizations that are popping up. People are feeling like, I need something that's not exactly provided for me by Death Penalty Action or by the Catholic Mobilizing Network or by whomever, and they're creating their own things. And that's great. And we will continue, Death Penalty Action, to amplify whoever is doing this work in the ways that we can. And as we do the things that we do in the way that we do them, but we get to engage the media, we get to engage public, create public pressure in any way that we can. We get to do it in ways that make sense to us. And if somebody else isn't doing it, this is why Death Penalty Action was started, because we didn't see people doing things the way that we felt they needed to be done. So Lauren Pope is here with Humanizing International, another organization that's doing things its way. Lauren, tell us about Rehumanizing. Bring us your thoughts in this case, please.
Thank you, Abe. And yes, we definitely are doing things our way. If you are not familiar with us, we are Humanizing International. We are a consistent life ethic group, which means we oppose all forms of aggressive violence, including the death penalty. And sadly, because of this huge rise in executions over the last few years, we have had to be very vocal about that right now because it just keeps going up and up. And this particular case, I mean, obviously, anytime that we have a innocence claim, it is just particularly devastating. And in this case in particular, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about how the systems resulted in this, how that original trial happened, and some of the structural issues that lead to this that are maybe a good place for us to put pressure on, as Jeff was saying, with the current system not working. There are some places where reform could be made. So first of all, I would like to talk about the prison informant system, right? This entire case, all the evidence that they had was one paid prison informant making this claim. That system is just so rife for abuse, right? Paid informants just generally, but specifically in a case like this, that is a digital death penalty case, not being disclosed. I think that is an area where we as activists can work to put pressures on legislators to put regulations surrounding that so that we don't see these kind of abuses, because as Abe said, the informant later recanted, but that was too little too late. And so that's one issue. And then of course the second issue, which is honestly a little unbelievable that the Supreme Court is allowing this to move forward, but allowing a death penalty case to continue without representation, without legal representation, is just so far beyond the pale. And then allowing the conviction to stand, even when the co-defendant was released because of this issues with this case, and yet Tony is going to be executed despite being what it sounds to me and people surrounding the case have explained was in a kind of not great mental state when all of this was happening, and dismissed his lawyers and then was expected to defend himself. So I think that if we can stop that from ever happening again, putting regulations and rules in place around that is another place for us to work. But I mean, this case is a travesty, right? And the fact that now we get to the point where they won't test any kind of DNA or fingerprints, I mean, that's sadly we've kind of found is par for the course. But there's just so many failures at so many levels, going back to a criminal justice system, and this is my last point, where when you have someone who, as one of the victims in this case, had been involved in some criminal elements, had been someone who had been known to sell drugs and that sort of thing, when you have that, the police are not really looking for justice. The prosecutors aren't looking for justice. They're looking for, we're going to wrap this up, right? And that's another thing. We talk a lot about the innocent person going to death row, but the other side of this is there is someone guilty for this crime out there in the world that was never pursued because it was easier to just have a prison informant come in and put the blame on some guy who, I don't know, was spouting off in jail or whatever it was, and here we are, and we're calling this somehow justice when it's anything but. So those are my thoughts on all of this.
Thank you, Lauren. Janet, are you ready to bring us into to bring your prayer to this, and we will continue to look for any news. I've not seen any news updates in this case, but if anybody who was in the audience is watching and is monitoring any of the Tennessee news feeds, please let us know if you see anything that changes what we're expecting to happen. And with that, welcome Janet Walsh.
Thank you, Abe. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. So for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Janet Walsh. I'm a Christian believer. I live near Manchester in the United Kingdom. And the death penalty in the United Kingdom was actually abolished back in 1969, that's almost 60 years ago. Jesus has filled my heart with compassion for all those condemned to death, and I'm standing here with you all as you campaign to abolish the death penalty in the whole of the USA and try to save the lives of those condemned to death. This is my prayer for Tony Carruthers. My prayer is based on some verses from Psalm 109. Almighty God, we cry out to you for Tony Carruthers as he faces execution today. O God, you are the one to whom we give all our praise, and we are saddened that wicked and deceitful men have opened their mouths against Tony Carruthers. They have spoken against him with lying tongues. They have surrounded him with words of hatred and have attacked him without cause. They have falsely accused him of a murder which he most likely did not commit. They are about to execute him, even though he could well be innocent of the crime he's been convicted of, even though there is evidence available that could prove his innocence. Father God, wrap your arms tightly around Tony. Surround him with your love. Set him free from all fear. Fill him with your special peace, and draw him to yourself so that he can spend all eternity with you. I also want to pray for the family and friends of Tony. Help them, Heavenly Father, to know that as Tony is cruelly having his life taken from him, that you are there grieving together with them. As you have called us to bless those who persecute us and pray for those who mean us harm, I now pray a blessing upon Governor Bill Lee. Thank you for his life and the plans and purposes you have for him. However, I speak the words of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 7 over Governor Lee, which says, "Have nothing to do with a false charge, and do not put an innocent or honest person to death, for I will not acquit the guilty."
Amen.
So I pray, Governor Lee, that your heart will become filled with compassion and that you will put a stop to the executions of all those on death row in Tennessee, so that no other potentially innocent person will be put to death. Holy Spirit, help to guide and strengthen us all as we stand in unity against the death penalty. Give us wisdom in all our efforts as we campaign to bring this to an end. And I offer up these prayers now to you, O Lord God, in the mighty and precious name of your Son. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Janet.
Oh, where is this justice? Where's the justice we need? Tell me, where is this justice we all want to see? And when I marched in the street, I began to see, I saw that the justice we need is the justice that needs me. And tell me, where is the healing? Where's the healing we need? Tell me, where is this healing we all want to see? And when I turn on my TV, I still see so much dis-ease. ease. I see that the healing we need is the healing that needs me. Tell me, where is the peace that we need? Oh, please, where is the peace that we all want to see? So I phoned an old friend. I said, I am sorry for the grief. I know that the peace that we need, and I know that the healing we need, and I see that the justice we need is the justice that needs me and you and me and you and me and you and me.
Thank you, Brandon. You know, it feels hopeless. It's unbelievably unfair. And we get to lift each other up and be here together and to stand in our commitment to opposing executions in every case. Jeff, you know Tony, have had recent engagement with Tony such that it was possible. But I want to invite you to bring us a little closer to him and to what's happening on death row right now as we approach killing time, if you're open to that.
Yeah, sure. You know, there's a variety of ways to talk about this case and this situation, but I do think the word unfair really does fit here, and that this is someone who has suffered from delusions and mental health problems for a very long time. And, you know, I think that sometimes in these calls and in our activism, we throw around the word innocence. I think probably too much. But the reality is that we don't know. I mean, we never can know. But what we can know about this situation is that this is someone who engaged a court system, a criminal justice system, that should have been fair, that should have allowed room for testimony that would have created a reasonable doubt. He should have been evaluated, and such evaluations given credence for his mental health very early on, and it wasn't. We know that these pieces of evidence, these evaluations, all of these different things were not fairly evaluated and engaged. Unfair. I think that that is a really meaningful and correct word for what we're looking at. I can tell you that the whole notion of Tony representing himself, I can very much see that. This is somebody who suffers from, you know, all sorts of delusions and, you know, is classic mental illness. And I have no question that this is someone who at the time thought that the best thing that he could do was to represent himself. And whether, you know, I realized that he was pushed in that direction or forced in that direction, but I also have no doubt that this is someone this is someone who unquestionably thinks that they are the smartest person in the room, every single time, every single day, no matter what. I can tell you that for months now, I have been receiving incessant text messages that are basically hashtag this, hashtag that, over and over again, as if hashtags work on the prison messaging system. I mean, and I'm talking about dozens and dozens and dozens of messages. Messages that could only come from someone who truly had no concept of what was going on. Indeed, also, I'm in touch with a lot of guys on Tennessee's death row, people who I'm very close to, half a dozen guys that I'm particularly close to and have worked with for a long time now. And they recounted Tony screaming, hashtag this, hashtag that, all night, echoing off the concrete, keeping folks awake. Um, and the reality is that Tony was not a very pleasant person to be around. A lot of that had to do with his mental illness, and a lot of that had to do with his delusions. But such things um, should get us to a place of a conversation about fairness. Again, we arrive back at that word, unfair. And so, what we're talking about this morning is um, not just an execution, but a real indictment of our system from beginning to end. A system that, in a lot of ways, ignored or didn't know how to deal with early pieces of mental illness, a system that refused to allow evidence and allowed a mentally ill person to represent themselves, a system that has not given him the treatment that he needs in order to function within the prison, and now a system that is going to execute someone who, for all intents and purposes, does not understand what is happening. I can tell you, as someone who has been with various guys 11 different times now, I know what those final moments look like. I know what it looks like to look in the eyes of someone that is about to be murdered. And I also know what it looks like to look in the eyes of someone who's about to be murdered who doesn't quite comprehend what is happening. And it is a level of, we point to someone like this and we say that they're insane. We are the ones who are insane. We are the ones who are, perpetuating actions that speak of lawlessness, that speak of horror, that speak of a complete inability on our part to uphold the values that we say we uphold, that we believe in, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And so, again, there are obviously a lot of pieces of evidence in this case that point to someone else. But I think it's important to always recognize that we never really know. We never really know. But what we can know in this situation is that this is someone who did not get a fair shake. If our system continues to perpetuate things like this, we talked about this earlier, we have to begin to have conversations about what do we do when there is nothing left to do. I think this is a situation in which his lawyers, the advocates, everybody who signed the petitions, everybody who pushed so hard for Tony, it feels like there was nothing, that everybody did everything they could do, and at the end, there was nothing left to do. We arrive back at that word, unfair. We have to begin to answer the question, what do we do when things are unfair and impossible?
Thank you, Jeff. Just in a spot of unrelated good news. The U.S. Supreme Court just ruled in the case of Joseph Clinton Smith that he may not be executed due to his intellectual disability, which is actually a little surprising given that they allowed Eddie, the man that was executed in Texas last.
Edward Busby.
Thank you, Eddie Busby. Too many names in my head. They did allow him to be executed despite his intellectual disability, but in any case, a positive. Many of us were fearful after the ruling on Thursday, or the decline to rule on Thursday, that that this case was not going to go well, and at least that's one life saved.
Abe, I think I was just going to add very quickly, and I know I said this last night, and this is a side note, but I want to just further share that Attorney General Steve Marshall was beat in his race for the United States. He actually finished third. This is someone who, in the primary on Tuesday, and this is someone who staked their entire political career on nitrogen executions. So it shows us that nitrogen executions, this just zealousness on the death penalty, is not translating into political advantage. And so I think that is if that can happen in Alabama, that's a piece of hope that I just wanted to share.
While we're discussing the Supreme Court, and while I am glad for this ruling, but again, the fact that just last week we had someone executed under identical claims because it hadn't passed through the process quickly enough is just, yeah, it's so capricious. But I'm reading the Supreme Court filing here by Tony's lawyers that I guess is still currently being reviewed. I haven't seen that they've come down with a decision yet, but in this, they talk about the evidence that was not revealed to the original jury at trial, including the fact that there were fingerprints found at the scene, and Tony was excluded from those. None of the fingerprints matched him. There was DNA on a blanket that was tested. It didn't match him. Of course, all the DNA that remained untested. But the fingerprints were something that they knew back then, the prosecutors were aware of at trial. It was withheld from the jury, and of course, because he was representing himself, he did not know to, push on that point. And I don't know if that is going to, in any way, sway the Supreme Court. It seems that they don't have much care for the actual facts of the trial. It's usually procedural things that happen down the road. But I just thought that people here would appreciate knowing that even at trial, even when this all began, they knew that they didn't have evidence directly linking him, and in fact excluded him from the evidence that they did have.
There are multiple cases where
I was just going to add that it's interesting, it's incredible actually, that our system, we say, oh, this is the best criminal justice system in the world. I hear that all the time. And it's fascinating that one is innocent until proven guilty, but the burden is so much. We used to say, or you hear all the time, the burden is on the prosecution to prove that someone is guilty. And that has become total nonsense, because there's no doubt in this case, Tony Carruthers was put in a position where it was his responsibility to prove his innocence, which he was, based on his state, completely unable to do. And so, again, these cases are not just speaking of individual unfairness. These moments being unfair, it's indicting the entire system.
But I'm heartened if Lauren, if you can put a link to the docket in the chat here, that'd be great. Then we can all watch to see. Of course, that's not always where the decision is placed, but I'm heartened mildly to hear that maybe the U.S. Supreme Court is still considering the most recent appeal for a stay. So let's see where that goes. And for a moment, let's hear from our friend Britton Buchanan.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? And were you there when the stone was rolled away? Were you there when the stone was rolled away? Well, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, oh, tremble. Were you there when the stone was rolled away?
I see Esther in the chat there from Project Hope to Abolish the Death Penalty. Welcome, and we're glad you're there and monitoring. And there's at least one person, looks like they'll come off a death row in Alabama. And we're all going to be talking soon about an Alabama case. But for now, we're still holding vigil to see what happens in the case of Tony Carruthers. It's unlike the situation in many other states, we can't visit what's happening at the prison in Tennessee. If you're here at the very beginning, we heard from Reverend Kevin Riggs, who is leading prayer in the Vigil at the prison, and they don't allow anything. They can't even bring their umbrellas in, and it's rain was forecast down there, so they have to show ID to go in. Although I will say the last few times I've been there, I just sort of hung out in the parking lot and tolled our bell out there, which could be heard echoing off the hills that surround Riverbend Correctional Institution there outside of Nashville. I'll also note that just due to some people not being available, we did not do the March for Mercy on this case for the first time in a number of years, and we'll be hopefully being able to replicate that and do that again in let's see, the next Tennessee execution is Daryl Hines in August, so the Sunday before August 13th, which I think is going to be the 9th. If you can find yourself in Nashville, we'll be walking, yes, that'll be Sunday, August 9th. We'll be walking from the prison to the state capitol. It's about 9 miles. And during the summer months, we usually start that pretty early to try to evade the heat. In any case, that is a bit of what's happening. So what we know and what my experience of execution vigils there outside of Riverbend is they have a liturgy that they read and go through, and then they fall into silence and are likely in that space right now as we wait to hear what's going to happen. And, the prison hasn't figured out now that people can have, now we have Dick Tracy watches, and if you may be too young to know that reference, but Dick Tracy was a detective cartoon character from the 50s or whenever it was that had a communicator on his wrist. And, that's what happened last time, is people were able to check out what was going on via messages received through their iWatches or whatever you call them. I don't have that sort of thing. But in any case, Lauren has posted the page to watch at U.S. Supreme Court. Now, this is SCOTUS blog. This is actually not the Supreme Court itself, but it's the blog on that's looking at this, and it's got the docket number filed yesterday, and then the page itself is here, and there's that's the question, and then if we actually go to Supreme Court. Another page to be watching is this one, Orders of the Court, which it would pop up right in here. And the question is, where do they get around to posting it first? Oh, I'm not even showing you sorry, I thought I was showing you my screen. I was looking at it. Here it is. This is the orders of the court on the Supreme Court, so case documents. So this is just supremecourt.gov, case documents, docket search, orders of the court is this page. And then before that, we were looking at this page, which is the docket for this particular case filed by Maria de Liberato, our counsel of record in this case, before the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll probably hear from Maria tonight as well, since she is also on the staff of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. And she is now also employed by the ACLU and engaging in that role in these cases, in capital cases, and doing what can be done within the law to file things like this. So we're waiting to see. We can actually look at the main document, see what's going on here. Reasons for granting the stay. Mr. Carruthers has shown a reasonable likelihood of success on the merits of his claims. There can be no dispute that Mr. Carruthers will suffer irreparable harm. The public interest lies in ensuring the state does not end life without adequate due process, and he has not delayed. And if you've never seen one of these documents, this is what they look like in terms of the appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court or to other courts. Here we are talking about the question of the years of trying to access the DNA, which hasn't been tested. In 2011, still acting as his own defense, Mr. Carruthers, acting pro se, which means representing yourself, sought DNA testing under the DNA Act of a vaginal swab from one of the victims and a blanket collected from the crime scene. And continuing effort to prove his innocence and identity, the true perpetrator before his execution, Mr. Carruthers sought DNA testing of several pieces of evidence that are available for testing and have never been tested. Items include fingernail scrapings from the victims and bindings used on the victims' bodies, all of which directly link to the crime and have a high likelihood of containing DNA from the true perpetrator. He's also sought further testing of previously tested items because, the technology improves. And he has been, trying to file this particular motion through, I guess, recently since April 9th. So relatively recent. That's always one of the arguments that the state makes is why you wait until now. Let's see what else they've got here. Reasons for granting the stay. Whether the state applicant has made a strong showing that is likely to succeed in the merits, and whether the applicant will be irreparably injured, as I read before. And the arguments are that a stay is appropriate from the U.S. Supreme Court. And here we are down to the wire again, waiting for the U.S. Supreme Court to decide whether they agree with the arguments of the defense in this case. This court has recognized the critical importance of DNA in cases like Mr. Carruthers. DNA testing has an unparalleled ability to both exonerate the wrongly convicted and identify the guilty. A majority of this court has agreed that capital defendants have a liberty interest in obtaining DNA testing. There's no question that Mr. Carruthers will suffer irreparable harm absent a stay. They're comparing this case to that of Richard Glossop, who was actually just given bond in Oklahoma, and he's going through a new trial, but he's actually out on electronic monitoring, so they're making a reference to that case. Mr. Carruthers does not ask to be declared innocent, nor does he ask to be released from prison. All he asks from this court at this time is to stay his execution so that this court can review his meritorious claims, which they have now only had for hours. And of course, it's within the public interest as well to take their time.
I think drawing the parallel to the case in Oklahoma is a good move, at least, rhetorically. I'm not sure how the court will take it, but the fact that both relied on an informant who is, unreliable as the whole foundation of the case.
Yes. Hey, Lynn, can you check your microphone and see if there's a way to boost up? Because I keep meaning to mention to you that it's a little bit soft.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I will.
Abe, I was just going to say that I'll just jump in and say that was Paul Everett down in Florida, and
You're on the phone with him.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he sends his regards, um, prayers for Tony. But I think it's also important to remember that this, and Esther, of course, knows this, and others who work closely with these guys all over the country. I mean, this has a reverberating effect all over the country. Every time one of these executions happen, they know it's happening. They know what claims are denied. They understand how frivolous sometimes it seems, but I think it's actually quite courageous that so many of them choose to keep going and to keep fighting. And so, for Paul to call in and talk about not giving up the fight, I think really challenges us to not to give up the fight.
Agreed. Yeah.
I did briefly wanted to also say that anybody that might feel like they're tired this morning, Esther Brown turned 93 years old this past weekend and has been fighting on and on and on incessantly. Doesn't stop, on the phone all day long. And
well, they told her she'd be dead a decade ago too. So
she is an inspiration.
Amen, Esther. So for those who may be just joining us or popping in on one of the live stream feeds, this is a vigil for Tony Carruthers, who is scheduled to be executed at this time in Tennessee. It's unclear to us because we are not in the middle of everything exactly what has happened, but it appears that we're waiting for a decision from the U.S. Supreme Court, which of course could drag on all day. Who knows how this is going to play out? We certainly don't, and we'll continue to monitor the situation as we can. I'm just looking again at the orders page. Still nothing there. Last week I probably refreshed my screen 300 times in the drive between Oklahoma and Texas, as we were trying to get from the execution of Raymond Johnson in Oklahoma to the scheduled execution, which was being challenged of Eddie Busby in Texas, and that came down to the wire also. That's right, Lynn. No effort expended in the name of love is ever wasted.
Oh, where is this justice? Where's the justice we need? Tell me, where is this justice we all want to see? And when I marched in the street, I began to see, I saw that the justice we need is the justice that needs me. And Tell me, where is the healing? Where's the healing we need? Tell me, where is this healing we all want to see? And when I turn on my TV, I still see so much dis-ease. I see that the healing we need is the healing that needs me. Tell me, where is the peace that, where is the peace that we need? Oh, please, where is the peace that we all want to see? So I phoned an old friend. I said, I am sorry for the grief. I know that the peace that we need, and I know that the healing we need, and I see that the justice we need is the justice that needs me and you and me and you and me and you and me.
Hey, I was going to jump in and speak to just give a wider picture of what murder investigations in the United States look like. Um, Memphis, where close to where this crime occurred, um, is has one of the highest murder rates in the country. That's the first thing to mention. Second thing is that when you talk about murder rates, it's important to start off with how many murders are there. In Memphis in 2024, which I think is the most recent data because the data is always delayed in coming out. So it would not, I don't think the 2025 data is out here halfway through 2026. So in 2024, Memphis experienced 248 homicides or murders. And of those 248 today, about 99 have been solved, which means that their clearance rate is around 40%. Nationally, the clearance rate is somewhere between 57 and 60%. So this idea that we are punishing, this eye for an eye idea is totally, I mean, before you ever get to the fact that not everybody is sentenced to death, I mean, obviously that's an important thing to say, important argument. Before you ever get there, the fact that only 40% of murders are solved in Memphis should tell you that solving murders is not what is most important there in Memphis. What is most important is, or at least has been, making sure that those who get to trial are convicted at trial, and even beyond that, given death sentences. So it's those of us who come from a Christian background understand the idea of an atonement. It feels very much, and the atonement being that this idea that Jesus was crucified for the sins of the world, for the sins of humanity. But when you look at these death sentences, it feels like that sort of Puritan sort of mindset often plays into the way that these cases are engaged, in that Tony Carruthers seems to be paying the price, not just for what they assume that he did or what again, we've already had the questions that are asked, but also for all of these other murders that go unsolved. I was looking at a story yesterday in Nashville that there was a gathering of murder victims' family members, and there's this huge display of all of the people who had been murdered in Nashville last year. And there was a lot of anger, and rightfully so. But the question has to be, should the anger be directed at individuals that are tried, um, identified, or whatever, rightly or wrongly, or should the anger be directed at a system that doesn't take murders seriously? In fact, it only takes murders seriously 40% of the time in Memphis. Nationally, 57 to 60% of the time. And so when we say that, I'm going to take some lines from Lauren and rehumanize, but when we say that life is important and that we are pro-life, why is it that, first of all, that these states that former states in the Confederacy are executing the most people? Obviously, that's part of the conversation. But their police departments also have the lowest clearance rates on murder cases in the country. Memphis, Little Rock, New Orleans, Nashville, Atlanta, Birmingham. I mean, so it shows that that it's not just about abortion. It's not just about the death penalty. It's also about what these, again, clearance rates and how victims' families and what resources are put into solving these crimes, what that says about how we value life, especially here as Southerners. And I think that that's something that sort of concerns me a lot. And obviously people are punished. I mean, we can talk about punishment all day long, but it does seem like if we're interested in getting murderers off the street and stopping murders, and we say, okay, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, we're going to kill people to set an example. It seems to me that setting an example might be to catch that 60% that never get caught.
Yeah, I can speak to that from a personal perspective. I think some of y'all on this call know this story, but maybe not everybody. My cousin was murdered in 2009 in Kansas, and well, I'll tell you, it lines up very well with the fact that the police, the prosecutors, they just didn't actually care. So I'll give you the full background because I think it matters to showing the family element of this, the human element of it. My cousin was involved in drugs, right? He was involved with some meth production. He himself was doing meth. It was this is Kansas in 2009. So that was kind of what things were. My grandfather had a massive heart attack, was in the ICU, did not live and was not expected to live at that point. And my cousin Aaron came up to the hospital while high on meth. And his sister stopped him and said, "Hey, grandma can't see you like that. You need to go home and clean up and then come back." And we never saw him again after that. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. And he was missing for months. We filed the missing person report and all of that. No updates. He was a missing druggie, right? So not a lot of resources put to that, or so we thought. It turned out they very quickly knew what happened to Aaron. They, through their informant network, knew that he had been kidnapped and killed and buried at a specific farm on the outskirts of Wichita, Kansas, that they wanted to investigate for the manufacture of meth. And so they did nothing. They took no action for months while they could build this case against the meth program, right? Aaron's death was very inconsequential to this, except as a piece to take down the meth lab. When they finally went to investigate, to exhume his body, it had been, of course, many months in a shallow grave, and they said, very conveniently for them, that they could not determine a cause of death, even though they had the informants who had walked through the entire process. And so the person who killed him, who was his friend, who had kidnapped him, shot him, put him in the back of a car. Like there had been an entire sequence of events that could not be proven. He got charged with kidnapping, spent 5 years in jail because he turned state evidence against the meth manufacturers, who they actually cared about, right? So the murder was very incidental. It served only to build this case. They weren't going to charge him with murder. They charged him with kidnapping. He did not get, I wouldn't want him to get the death penalty, but he didn't get any kind of serious jail time for murder because it was kidnapping. Because what happened that was important was that the drug was taken out of the streets. They got this drug kingpin. That was the important part. The murder didn't matter. And so, yeah, with the murder family, my cousins have participated in those things where the murder victim families, do things. And it's just, the state doesn't care. The state cared so little, they sent the wrong remains to my aunt and uncle.
Oh, wow.
And so it's hard. It is hard knowing that, like you said, the systems are so often built to support some other priority that is not finding justice for victims' families. Mm-hmm. Victims have a hierarchy, right? And all we can do is just exist in this and say, we hope that every family finds justice. At least we were able to know who did it. We were able to find out what happened to him, even if it wasn't, any kind of retribution for it. But that's a reality, and it often is the case, especially in Memphis, I'm sure, because it's the same thing here in Baton Rouge, that the cases that are going unsolved are cases where they have victims who they feel are not as important as the ones who they do pursue. Or they feel like the ones they pursue can take down a larger thing. It's not just a blind justice. It all has politics behind it. And so, yeah, that was my experience with the criminal justice system in Kansas. Not great, but it does speak to your point that even on cases where someone is arrested and prosecuted, it's not necessarily going to be for murder, right? There's a lot of ways to go behind the scenes to get lower charges.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating how the hierarchy of victims also speaks to the hierarchy of convictions as well? Like, poor people get the death penalty, and the majority of poor people who lose their loved ones, their cases are not solved. And it shows that the system is unfair and just horrible from start to finish. And from start to finish, it's those who don't have the resources who are forced to suffer. Something I was thinking about, Lauren, as you were talking, I've had two cousins, actually three cousins, who have died due to drugs and, that world. Two of them, there was we don't really know what happened, to be quite frank. But it also speaks to drug trafficking as a part of this conversation, in that when we talk about murders, we're only talking about, somebody who takes a gun or somebody who strangles someone or whatever that looks like. But you have all of these other crimes that are, dare I say, crimes against humanity, or, perpetuating, this, murder, or, putting things in people's hands that allow them to kill themselves. Something that really struck me also as you were talking, Lauren, is just, the fact that and you didn't say this, but my assumption is there's never been a prosecutor or a police officer that's come forward and says, "I'm sorry that this turned out this way. I'm sorry to your family. I'm sorry to," it's left to all these folks out here, myself and people, who are responding, and the messages, who are saying, "We're sorry that this happened. We love you," and these types of things. And so when we talk about, oh man, you're gonna have to put me on an advertisement. When we talk about rehumanizing our world, it's about stepping into these situations and saying, okay, it's not just that we're solving things. It's not just that we're doing things. It's a question of what are we being? Are we being something different? Are we being compassionate and loving and caring for life? And I think that that's what I was trying to illustrate too with these clearance rates. We don't care about murders. We care about keeping the system flowing and keeping the bodies flowing through the system. And anybody that says we care about an eye for an eye, or we care about, punishing murder and keeping murder from happening, that's absolutely ludicrous. And these clearance rates prove that.
Thank you. Thank you for this conversation. And Lauren, especially, thank you for sharing that vulnerability and that situation in your family. We appreciate that. And it adds to the conversation. Unfortunately, I have some news to share, which is that the U.S. Supreme Court has denied the request for a stay, which means that the execution is imminent in Tennessee.
Abe, I wish that Rob was still on, and maybe this is.
Back.
Did he? I did have anyways, a question in terms of when the justices get these cases, what causes them to send it to the full court or to deny it outright? And I think that that's something that I have often wondered. And what is the process?
If there's any lawyers among us, you can raise your hand, and if everybody knows the answer to that. But we will let's try to make a note to ask Rob that if he's with us this evening or on the next occasion. So that order having just come down, we can expect that execution is moving forward forthwith. We will, shift into prayerful mode again, and I'm going to give us another song, and then we'll be back in a couple minutes as soon as we have more information and additional prayer.
Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey, I want Jesus to walk with me.
Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, walk with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey, I want Jesus, walk with me.
And that's a video that was provided to us by Common Hymnal, which, if you saw the opening video, that some of the musicians from Common Hymnal were marching with us in that one of those early March for Mercies that we did in Tennessee, as we do before most Tennessee executions. So that organization can't always commit to people being present, so they gave us some videos. In any case, if you're just joining us or have joined us recently, we are waiting to hear that Tony Carruthers has been executed. And Jeff, I know you need to go, so if you could give us some closing thoughts from yourself and perhaps some prayer for all of us and for Tony, that would be beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to, I've got a parent-teacher conference that I've got to run off to. Obviously, as these horrific things happen, life does go on. I guess the question is, how are we going to live with the knowledge of what we've encountered today? And one of the passages that really draws me, not just now, but in every execution, I found myself returning to John 14 over and over again. And Jesus says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me." And a lot of the times I'm very disappointed in a lot of Christians that use such language in exclusionary ways and forget the mandate that we are given in the New Testament, that God is love. And so I want to share that we do not have to allow our hearts to be troubled. Our hearts do not have to be troubled. We can believe in God because we believe in love. God is love. So as we depart from this place, let our hearts not be troubled. Let us believe that Tony will rest in the arms of love. Let us believe that love is the way, love is the truth, and love is the life. And in such beliefs, let us abolish the death penalty. I mean, even though it sounds crazy right now in the midst of the horror, I do believe that love can bear all things, do all things, hold all things, push through every injustice. So let us cling to love in this moment. I'd like to offer a prayer, and then I'll have to jump off. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. For love so loved the world, that love gave love's only begotten love, that whosoever believes in love shall not perish, but have everlasting love. God, help us to believe. Help us to know. Strengthen us for the work ahead. Strengthen Tony. Strengthen Tony's family. Strengthen all who are touched by this situation, the victims' families, the reporters, those who are outside. God, help us to believe that love can make a way out of no way. God, help us. Help us, God. Help us. Amen. Thank you all.
Needless to say, there's way too many questions, way too much reasonable doubt, and I was just outraged and wrote this song asking basically, how do you sleep at night? You know, if there's all these questions that can't be answered, and you're fine with not answering them, then maybe you can take a swing at that one and tell me, how do you sleep at night? And so I wrote this for Ivan. It goes like this. I don't believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a lie for a lie. I don't believe that justice is blind. Just look down the halls of the prison tonight. You locked him up when he was just a kid, for something I don't think he did. And if he did, it's still a fact that taking him won't bring them back. So how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? And there's questions that need answers. How do you still take a chance? If you can't answer them, then take a swing at mine. How do you sleep at night? Is it justice or revenge? Does it matter in the end? To kill a man you're still not sure. Did what you say you're gonna kill him for. So how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? When there's questions that need answers, how do you still take a chance? If you can't answer them, then take a swing at mine. How do you sleep at night? It's not easy what you do, to feel it all rain down on you. All the questions and all the weight. We weren't built to hand out fate. But whatever happens, know there's grace. I see the lines across your face. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? There's still questions that need answers. How do you still take a chance, sir? I hope you walk away one day and you feel alright. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night?
All right. I also have to leave in a few minutes, but I wanted to leave you with this, especially because we've been talking about sort of that feeling of hopelessness and what do we even do in moments such as this? So this is a quote from Edith Stein, who, if you're not familiar, she was a German Jewish philosopher. She was one of the first philosophy professors, female philosophy professors in Germany, who later converted to Catholicism and joined a monastery during the rise of Nazism, who was unfortunately taken and executed at Auschwitz at the end of her life. But when she was early in her monastic days, she was writing to her fellow sisters about what to do in a moment such as this with a world on fire. And I think that it's a great call to all of us. So very briefly, the world is in flames. The conflagration can also reach our house. But high above all flames towers the cross, and the flames cannot consume the cross. The world is in flames. Are you impelled to put them out? The eyes of the crucified look down on you, asking, probing, what will you answer him? I think that is a good question for us all in this moment of what we will answer to a world in flames.
Thank you, Lauren.
Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you. Cantor Michael Zusman here with the thousands of members of L'chaim, Jews Against the Death Penalty, L'chaim, to Life, a project of death penalty action. If you're watching this video, it means that one of 3 individuals is about to be put to death in the same week, scheduled, in the United States of America. This week, we can barely keep up with the rate at which these executions are proceeding, hence this video, which includes all 3. This week, we turn our attention to Leroy Dean McGill in Arizona, to Richard Knight in Florida, and to Tony Carruthers in Tennessee. As they are about to be led to the slaughter in the valley of the shadow of death, we invoke the psalm that discusses that exact valley. Humanity is not meant to put people in that valley against their will, and yet here we are. And so, the words from the Judeo-Christian tradition, Psalm 23, for these individuals. And I ask you, no matter what your beliefs or background, simply to turn your thoughts and attention and energy to those individuals now. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, binot desheyad bitzeini, al mei menuchot yenachaleini. Nafshi yeshovev, Yanecheni lemagale tzedek, leman shemo, gam ki elech begetz hamavet, lo irara ki ata imadi, Shivtecha umishantecha, Shivtecha umishantecha, Hema yenachamuni, Taroch lefanai shulchan, Taroch lefanai shulchan, Taroch lefanai shulchan, neged tzorai, Dishanta vashemen roshi, Dishanta vashemen roshi, Dishanta vashemen roshi, Kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed, yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, Veshavti bevet Adonai, Veshavti bevet Adonai, leorech yamim.
Hear now Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his namesake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you, Lynn. Reverend Lynn Hopkins, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Memphis. It's the Church by the River. Is that what we call it now?
The Church of the River.
Of the River, thank you.
Its legal name is the First Unitarian Church of Memphis, but everybody knows it as the Church of the River, and you've seen the property, Abe, you know why.
I got to visit you on my way down to Texas last week, and it's true. She's in competition behind the pulpit there in the Church of the River is this massive window, and behind it is that the Mississippi River?
That's the Mississippi. Yeah.
Yeah, I should know that, of course. But Lynn, you recently moved from Alabama to Tennessee, so now you're actually grateful that you're with us as a Tennessee pastor and a leader in the Memphis area where you have been involved in this campaign. And I wonder if you could simply share a little bit about the actions that took place in Memphis around the Tony Carruthers case and how are people feeling?
Yeah, well, we've done all that we could find to do to raise awareness, to lift up the horrific injustices in this case. I mean, Tony's story just seems to bear so many of the marks that show just how evil our execution system is. So we've held public events. Last week there was a press conference at the at the National Museum for Civil Rights here, and here we are again. This is Abe, it feels personal sometimes. But I want to express my gratitude for Rob Dunham. Earlier, I couldn't be present. I was on the road, but I was able to listen in, and I was really thankful for him lifting up the tireless work of our attorneys. Yes, there are those who are fatally flawed, just like there's clergy who are, but it is the death penalty attorneys who just keep on in spite of all the devastation, all the tragedy, and getting to know these guys and going back again. And we are all responsible. I've been saying for years, if just 1% of the people in this nation who do not think it's okay to execute someone who didn't do it were to take to the street, we'd shut the country down in a minute. It is just that there is a terrible lack of awareness combined with an utter sense of powerlessness that even when people do learn, too often they shrug, and we have cast out these people from human society, categorized them as something other than our brothers and sisters. So we come today to bear witness and to remember it was a Unitarian who in 1858 refused to give up her seat to a white person on a stagecoach more than 100 years before Rosa Parks. It's important to remember that the struggle began generations before us, and it may very well continue long after. But nothing here, nothing we do in the name of love is wasted.
Amen. Thank you, my friend. Charles, do you want to come on and share a little bit? This is Reverend Charles Packer from up in Michigan, a state with a constitutional prohibition against the death penalty.
Yes, and that is often a comfort for me on some level, but truly there is little to comfort us today and in the midst of these weeks of 5 executions. It feels a bit overwhelming, I know, particularly for those closest to the situation. And as we've been hearing songs and quotes and prayers and scriptures, a psalm came to mind. I think it's complementary with the 23rd Psalm, but I thought I would read from Psalm 46, the first 7 verses, and then offer a prayer. And hopefully...
I was going to say, as you do that, I'm going to share some photos from the prison site that Gabby just shared with me. So,
sure. Psalm 46, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations are in an uproar. The kingdoms totter. He utters his voice. The earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Lord God, Spirit, among us known by many names, we are here feeling the unfairness and injustice of another execution. Be with Tony in these moments, his family, friends, all loved ones, the victims' families, and all who are touched by this act today. Be a refuge and strength for us all. Keep us strong, encouraged, full of hope and resolve to bring an end to the death penalty. Change hearts and minds. Grant peace and rest for our bodies, our minds, and our souls, so that we might continue to be faithful witnesses in the cause to abolish this national tragedy. We pray this in the confidence of your everlasting presence and all-pervasive grace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Charles. We're just watching now for word of any news from the prison. At this point, I'm bouncing from different news agency to news agency. We just saw some photographs from inside the protest area, as Reverend Kevin Riggs shared with us at the top of this Zoom event. Before he went in there, it's not a protest; it's a prayer for those who are there. I prefer to refer to it as prayerful protest, and which is what we are doing here as well, standing together. I'm always heartened when, I know people need to go and people need to come and people pop in for a minute or two on the live streams, but we're all together, and it's not dozens, it's millions of people who oppose the death penalty and would do something about it if they could, or if they felt that they could. And again, the thing that we can do is be together with each other at times like this, and also to remind people, if you want a sign like this, it says we oppose the execution this week, or buttons like this, just send me a note, or better, sign up with the For Whom the Bells Toll campaign, which is what this sign goes with, as well as those buttons. I can send you 50 buttons to pass out and to wear to people that would actually use them around this. Dozens of churches are tolling their bells now at the time of execution around the country. We want to grow that. That's a thing that we can do. We can't stop executions. We're not the lawyers. We can't get in the courts. We're certainly not going to try to, break into the prison and stop things. That's a quick way to get killed. But we can speak out. We can work for politicians that will be about good public policy rather than appearing tough on crime. So, as I continue to refresh my screen here and we look to see if there's I noticed that the execution has taken place. Several, I will say, we can't share this, so we'll close it down, but they're the Tennessean, for example, and some of the TV stations there's a live stream that some of them host where the witnesses to the execution will come out and share what they saw. And you can go and watch that. We can't share it here because it's copywritten, and of course that'll kill the recording of this on where it gets parked on Facebook and YouTube and all that. So in any case, our prayers go to everybody that's involved in this, including the victims and their families, and of course the family of Tony Carruthers, who's been fighting so hard. His sister led in the presentation of petitions to Governor Lee's office, as we've done so often. She's been a leader in this in the fight to stop the execution of her brother, and so many other people have been doing everything that they can. And the ACLU is that's the American Civil Liberties Union. I've got my membership card. I hope you have yours. And they do so much work on so many things. And we're grateful that the Capital Punishment Project of the ACLU has actually added to its staff Maria De Liberato, who is the immediate past executive director of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, but also a longtime Capital defense attorney who now on behalf of the ACLU is engaging in litigation, not just in Florida, but in other states where executions are happening. And she's one of the top lawyers in this field. So that's the ACLU getting more deeply involved in the fight to stop these executions. And, you hear Death Penalty Action say so often, we oppose every execution. And we feel that it's important to be opposing every single one, even when there is nothing that can be done to stop it. And sometimes it's just us talking about cases, us and wherever the state group is, because others are choosing how to put their resources where maybe there is a hope to stop the execution. We want to make sure that we recognize that that's important to pick and choose how you're going to spend your resources. We choose, of course, to make sure that we're paying attention to every single one. There's always issues to talk about in every single one. And so that's how we style our focus and make sure that there's an opportunity for all of us to be together in this space like this, at times like this. Lynn, Charles, anything you care to add? I'm going to pull up another song from Brandon as we continue to wait for notification, and hopefully also Reverend Riggs will join us after the vigil is over, once there is a time of death and everybody goes back to their cars, because outside the prison, let's see here, outside the prison, I mentioned Tony Carruthers. I'm going to share this. This is Tony's sister. The other day when they were sharing, when they were delivering the petitions. So this is, you can see the boxes and boxes of petitions that were delivered, and rather larger than usual gathering of people that carried these in. And of course, what you can see right here at the bottom right is a little, I don't know what you would call this, but they've got like a little cord that goes across that keeps you from going into the governor's office there. So you come up to the door, and somebody from the staff will come up and, hear from you and, pretend to listen and all that. So that's what's happening in this image here. And let's see if they have any news posted. No, not yet. What about here in the Tennessean? Blah. So here's where you'll be able to find, if you go to the Tennessean.com, they've got, it looks like it may be behind a paywall, but hopefully once they start, it won't be. But also some of the TV stations will be running the news. Oh, that's the other case. All right, so still no word.
You may have noticed the woman standing in the front in that photograph at the Capitol was wearing a T-shirt that said "Rest in Heaven," that is for their mother, who recently died, and they were determined to bring her along on this journey as well. And
thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. See, I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Oh, the Lord hath promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and my portion be, as long as this life endures. And when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, oh, but now I see. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found. I was blind, but now I see.
Tonight a life will fade away, the silence heavy hearts still pray. For every tear that cannot fall, a candle's flame remembers on. The pain runs deep on either side, a mother's grief, a father's pride. Yet love can cross the prison gate, and light can heal the wounds of hate. Candle in the dark, we keep the vigil strong. For the lost, for the broken, for the right and the wrong. Let mercy guide the night, let compassion lead along. Candle in the dark. steps they take. May wisdom guide their hearts to see that mercy alone can set us all free. Candle in the dark, we keep the vigil strong. For the lost, for the broken, for the right and the wrong. Let mercy guide the night, let compassion lead along. Candle in the dark, we will carry on. We will carry on.
Thank you again, Gabi, for making that song for all of us. I think Gabi is still here, yes. Susan is right in the chat saying, I'm no safer today than I was after yesterday's execution murder, and tomorrow will be the same. And we continue to stand in vigil for the word that the execution has taken place.
Said goodbye, turned around, and you were gone, gone, gone. Faded into the setting sun, slipped away. Oh, but I won't cry, 'cause I know I'll never be lonely. You are the stars to me. You are the light I follow. I'll see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, till I see you again. I can hear those echoes in the wind at night, calling me back in time, right back to you. Oh, in a place far away where the water meets the sky. The thought of it makes me smile, 'cause you are my tomorrow, and I'll see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, till I see you again. Sometimes I feel my heart is breaking, but I'll stay strong and I'll hold on, 'cause I know, yeah, 'cause I know, well, yeah, 'cause I know. you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, I will see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, I will see you again. This is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, till I see you again. Said goodbye, turned around, and you were gone.
Sometimes we just get to sit in our silence.
Tell me, where is this justice? Where is the justice we need? Oh, please, where is this justice we all want to see? And when I marched in the street, I began to see, I saw that the justice we need is the justice that needs me. Tell me, where is the healing? Where is the healing we need? Oh, please, where is the healing? I know we all want to see. And when I turn on my TV, I still see so much dis-ease. I see that the healing we need is the healing that needs me. Tell me, where is the peace that? Where's the peace that we need? Oh, please, where is the peace that we all want to see? And so I phoned an old friend. I said, I'm sorry for the grief. And so I took a stand. I said, there's a change that we need, and I see that the justice we need is the justice that needs me.
It was a late night in a crowd. Somebody yelled out, get on the ground. Mr. Lawman, I done nothing wrong. But on deaf ears fell my song. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Judge and jury, my biggest fear, put me inside for 20 years. And the guard said, you're walking dead. Up high, I hold my head. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Set me free. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday we march and pray.
Good morning. This is Reverend Dr. Jeff Hood. I'm here with Casey McWhorter.
What's up?
Sorry about that. Actually, I lost that window here.
That happened.
Lynn, do you want to unmute?
I am not a skilled or talented musician, but my father played the harmonica for nearly all of his 100 years. And there is a song from our tradition that brings me comfort, and it's about the only thing I can play.
Trish has shared with me just moments ago that we're being told, according to the Tennessean, we're being told that there have been difficulties with the execution, and his attorneys are asking the Attorney General to abort it. Trish, are you able to share exactly when that was posted?
Yes, I was just looking at the Tennessean's live stream if it had started yet, and there's two comments, one saying that there's difficulties, and then one saying that it already took place. So it's conflicting information. I just wanted to share because the one message is coming from the Tennessean. So I don't have confirmation on anything yet. Just
well, thank you for it puts us into a space of quandary, and we'll continue to hold vigil as we try to find out what's going on. Gosh, thank you, Trish. And for those who don't know Trish, she's the Deputy Director of Death Penalty Action and handles all the stuff that I'm no good at. There she is. Somehow lost track of. There was something playing in the background. I couldn't figure out how to turn it off.
I'm going to take this into the sanctuary so I can toll the bell.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's see if I can unblur so you can get a little of that beautiful river view.
This is the sanctuary of the Church of the River. That's the Mississippi River through those windows. This is in Memphis, Tennessee.
Seems there's never a right time to stop that.
You know, Lynn, we couldn't hear it if you did toll it. I think you need to change your
Oh,
settings to change it to for musicians.
okay. Mm,
Under your microphone.
I'm looking for a place.
So under your microphone icon, there's a little arrow, and then you can choose original sound for musicians under microphone
Oh,
modes.
yes, I got it. Okay. Okay. Let me try that again.
Hmm. Sorry to say that we heard the something, but it wasn't really a bell sound. So we get to. I've had this struggle myself numerous times, but thank you for trying, and we know that you are tolling it there. I'm looking at the Twitter feed of Evan Mealens, who is the reporter for the Tennessean. He doesn't have anything up since an hour ago when he posted that um, the witnesses were sent back to the death chamber about an hour ago, and that was an hour ago. So that's 2 hours ago that they were sent, and this was him posting an hour ago that the Supreme Court had denied the stay. So waiting to see what if there's anything more coming from still nothing. Looking, Rob has posted that an article that the attorneys for Tony were concerned that they were using old drugs. So, breaking news from Evan Mullins. Tony Carruthers' attorneys say executioners cannot find a vein for lethal injection and asked for a stay of his execution as of 2 minutes ago. And you know, of course, that this will mean emergency legislation in Tennessee to move to a different form of execution, probably. That's awful that Tony appears to still be alive as of this latest news. Shocking, not shocking, but outrageous and awful and unnecessary. Ain't nothing like a failed execution. Folks who are might be just tuning in, we're trying to gather news of the situation. It was reported just a few minutes ago that the state of Tennessee executioners are having trouble finding a vein for Tony Carruthers. His execution was supposed to start 2 hours ago, almost 3 hours ago. And we are still awaiting word of what is going on. We know that the witnesses were sent back an hour ago, at 10 a.m. Central Time, which would be now 2 hours ago. And it is unclear what's happening. But an opportunity to play this song again.
Hi, I'm Pádraig McNeela, and this is my best-selling.
This is the song I wrote. There was this, or there was this, or whatever. I think. Needless to say, there was way too many questions, way too much reasonable doubt, and I was just outraged and wrote this song asking basically, how do you sleep at night? You know, if there's all these questions that can't be answered, and you're fine with not answering them, then maybe you can take a swing at that one and tell me, how do you sleep at night? And so I wrote this for Ivan. It goes like this. Don't believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a lie for a lie. I don't believe that justice is blind. Just look down the halls of the prison tonight. You locked him up when he was just a kid. Something I don't think you did. And if he did, it's still a fact. Taking him won't bring them back. So how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? There's questions that need answers. How do you still take a chance? If you can't answer them, then take a swing.
swinging mind. How do you sleep at night? Is it justice or revenge? Doesn't matter in the end. To kill a man you're still not sure. Did what you say you're gonna kill him for. So how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? When there's questions that need answers, how do you still take a chance? If you can't answer them, then take a swing at mine. How do you sleep at night? It's not easy what you do, to feel it all rain down on you. All the questions and all the weight. We weren't built to hand out fate. But whatever happens, know there's grace. I see the lines across your face. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? There's still questions that need answers. How do you still take a chance, sir? I hope you walk away one day and you feel alright. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night?
Big retailers just banned our lighter, and honestly, we're not surprised because we didn't.
Juggling too many things here. Still looking for news here. If anybody sees anything, please let us know in the chat. Please keep Tony and everybody that's involved in this mess in your prayers, because this is just more torture on top of torture. For folks who are watching, we're just trying to gather news and see what's happening. Apparently, it's being reported by the news media that the executioners in Tennessee cannot find a vein with which to execute Tony Carruthers, and very little news here. We don't have anybody on the site that, other than media, that would have access to the information. So here's the breaking news. Tony Carruthers' attorneys say executioners cannot find a vein and have asked for a stay of his execution. The execution has been stopped for now, but we're still waiting. So this is new 34 seconds ago. The execution has been stopped for now, but we are still waiting for more information to see if a judge will rule. So this execution is on pause and has not happened.
It was a late night in a crowd. Somebody yelled out, "Get on the ground." Mr. Lawman, I done nothing wrong. But on deaf ears fell my song. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Judge and jury, my biggest fear, put me inside for 20 years. And the guard said, "You're walking dead." Up high, I hold my head. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Then the angels come down and tables turn around. The sky will be as blue as it could be. The day they set me free. Someday, someday, we'll get.
Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
It was a late night in a crowd. Somebody yelled out, "Get on the ground." Mr. Lawman, I done nothing wrong. But on deaf ears fell my song. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Judge and jury, my biggest fear, put me inside for 20 years. And the guard said, you're walking dead. Up high, I hold my head. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. When the angels come down and the tables turn around, the sky will be as blue as it could be. The day they set me free. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Someday, someday, we're gonna tumble those walls. Someday, we march and pray. Nobody will walk that hall. Nobody's gonna walk that hall. Nobody will walk that hall.
I'm sharing. This is from the Memphis Commercial Appeal. Lucas Finton and Evan Meelan's reporting. Thanks, Trish, for finding this from just a few minutes ago. Harwell said executioners attempted to insert a central line after other attempts at inserting an intravenous line failed. According to the Cleveland Clinic, a central line is a long place, blah, blah, blah. The motion filed in the Tennessee Supreme Court states that repeated attempts to obtain access at alternate IV sites have been unsuccessful. Harwell said that Carruthers was in pain and that there was lots of blood.
Yeah, that central line process is horrific. Abe, who was the artist for that song?
Well, I think that is. Let me see if I can find it. It's McAfee Jacob Strain is what's in the. It's an MP3 that was given us. Michelle McAfee, a friend of Magdaleno's, wrote that. I think that's where we got it. It's been a few years now. Folks, we are sort of in a holding pattern here as we try to find out what is going on in this. The torture, the real torture, the death penalty is in the wait. Typically, an execution is supposed to be over within minutes, and the Supreme Court has ruled that it's okay if somebody feels a little bit of pain on their way out, but the Supreme Court has also ruled that torture is not okay. So it becomes a question of what. Well, let me correct that. I know that the Ohio Supreme Court has ruled that torture is not okay. Who knows what the U.S. Supreme Court has done in this regard, but This is not the first time that this is happening. The fact that the Corrections Department in Tennessee has halted the execution. That's what it says here, that witnesses heard a prison official say that the execution will not continue at this time. And that was at 11:52 Central Time, which would be roughly 22 minutes ago. So, the question becomes one of what they think they could do. The challenge, of course, here would be that you're not going to find medical professionals willing to step in and try to establish an IV. At least none that want to adhere to their oath of the oath taken to preserve life. And of course, when you're talking about I am not a medical professional, nor do I play one on TV. But when you're talking about a cut down, you're talking about opening up a vein and creating a space where, the possibility of bleeding out could happen. And it does say that there's lots of blood and lots of pain. So God be with Tony Carruthers right now and everybody that's involved in the horror that this will create for everybody that's responsible, and everybody that gets to witness, as we are standing witness. We'll be right back.
I'm losing my discretion. I'm tired of this fight. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. I venerate the temple, then I say goodbye. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. But you are not random. You are loved. The matter is corrupted. Yeah, the argument seems lost. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. Fools like us keep reaching for the bottom of the cross. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. But you are not random. No, you are not random. No, you are not meaningless, not lost, not gone forever. No, you are not random. You matter. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. losing my discretion. I'm tired of this fight. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. I venerate the temple, then I say goodbye. Life is fragile. Life is fragile. But you are not random. You are love. The matter is corrupted, yeah, the argument seems lost. Life is fragile, life is fragile. Fools like us keep reaching for the bottom of the cross. Life is fragile, life is fragile. But you are not random. No, you are not random. No, you are not meaningless, not lost, not gone forever. No, you are not random. You matter. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved.
We are still waiting for word. I'm refreshing my various news streams. The emergency, according to Rob Dunham, posted just a moment ago. This is from a quote from the emergency motion. The Tennessee Department of Corrections has been unable to obtain intravenous access to administer lethal injection to Mr. Carruthers. So that's from the motion that was filed a little while ago. Yeah, still nothing new. This song takes on a little bit of a new, different meaning now, maybe.
Said goodbye, turned around, and you were gone, gone, gone. Faded into the setting sun, slipped away. Oh, but I won't cry, 'cause 'cause I know I'll never be lonely. You are the stars to me. You are the light I follow. I'll see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me, oh, till I see you again. I can hear those echoes in the wind at night, calling me back in time, right back to you. Oh, in a place far away where the water meets the sky. The thought of it makes me smile, 'cause you are my tomorrow, and I'll see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me, oh, till I see you again. Sometimes I feel my heart is breaking, but I'll stay strong and I'll hold on, 'cause I know, yeah, 'cause I know, well, yeah, 'cause I know I will see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, I will see you again. Oh, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, I will see you again. This is not where it ends. I will carry you with me. Oh, till I see you again. Said goodbye, turned around, and you were gone.
Or maybe you were still there. Folks, we're going to hang in there for a bit more. Some of us who are on this Zoom actually get to shift gears and go to a meeting in Alabama to talk about stopping the next Alabama execution. But that's not for another 33 minutes. However, it is on this platform, and I want to honor that. And I'm hopeful that we'll get word that this execution has been put off or ordered off. So that's what we're hoping for. And I'm continuing to refresh the news. Nothing new there. Yeah, this is now the top of the news on several news agencies in Tennessee. The news is reporting that this execution has been stopped for now. And what that means is they just stopped the live stream on YouTube for the press conference. Gabi is reporting, which is actually kind of strange because you'd think that they would have a press conference and those witnesses would come out. Gabi, what can you post? I guess if they've stopped the live stream, then there's probably not going to happen. One moment again. A moment. Hey, Kevin.
Execution has stopped because they couldn't find that vein you texted me about. Have you heard it? Have you heard that?
That's what the news was reporting. Is that they halted the execution at 11:22. It was reported that that they couldn't get a vein going, that there was a lot of blood and pain, that the defense has filed a motion to stop the execution for. And that the Department of Corrections has reported that the execution is halted for now, with the "for now" being an emphasis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because what the authorities out here said, he'd heard both that it had been stopped and it had just been delayed, but everybody has left under the assumption that it's been stopped. I'd really like to have that. I really like to have that confirmed before I leave, that it's just not going to be delayed, and after we leave, they're going to try it again.
Yeah, well, the headline here in the Tennessean says Carruthers' execution stopped for now, after vein not found, and that's quoting the defense. I don't think there's been an official statement yet from the Department of Corrections or the state of Tennessee. And I'm just, again, refreshing all the news pages that I've been looking at. Now, Kevin, I don't know what to tell you, but it seems like another fiasco for the state of Tennessee.
Absolutely. It's another always a fiasco. Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate you texting me. I should have told. We can't take our phones in there, but my smartwatch has service. I have a hard time texting back because the numbers are so small, but I can receive text while I'm in there.
All right. Well, I did text you to say what is going on. I think that we get to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And what that means, I think, is until the Department of Corrections says they're standing down or the court orders them to stand down, then who knows? But anyway, thank you, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
Talk to you soon. All
yep.
Right. Bye-bye.
So that was Reverend Kevin Riggs. I don't know if you were able to hear me or hear that. If somebody can let me know in the chat if you're able to hear that.
Yeah, we heard it.
Okay, thank you. Well, Tony Carruthers is still alive. We know that. And I think Kevin is right to not stand down until there is word. I see on the Facebook chat, Jesse was asking if that was his spiritual advisor. No, that was not. That was Reverend Kevin Riggs, who does a lot of visitation, prison ministry, that sort of thing on Tennessee's death row, but he was at the Vigil outside the prison. So thank you for sharing that you could hear that. Normally these vigils don't go on quite this long. Normally they have their stuff together and are able to pull it off, which is an awful way to say it. I like that Susan Baker is saying they have no proof of him murdering anyone, but we have proof that they attempted to murder him.
Yeah, it looks like even the journalist on scene is unable to get an answer as to what "for now" means.
Yeah. That means that they'll try to figure it out until the warrant expires, which presumably would be at midnight, but we don't know. Be right back.
Tell me, where is this justice? Where is the justice we need? Oh, please, where is this justice we all want to see? And when I when I marched in the street, I began to see, I saw that the justice we need is the justice that needs me. Tell me, where is the healing? Where is the healing we need? Oh, please, where is the healing? I know we all want to see. And when I turn on my TV, I still see so much dis-ease. I see that the healing we need is the healing that needs me. Tell me, where is the peace where's the peace that we need? Oh, please, where is the peace that we all want to see? And so I phoned an old friend. I said, I'm sorry for the grief. And so I took a stand. I said, there's a change that we need, and I see that the justice we need is the justice that needs me.
Turns out that News Channel 4, thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Ronald Wires, who just texted me, saying the News Channel 4 is saying that the person charged with administering the lethal drug failed to find a vein. The execution was stalled indefinitely. And according to this, the team continued to follow the protocol, but could not find another suitable vein. The execution was then called off.
Abe, I have got an update from death row there in Tennessee. If you give me just a second, I'm not going to be looking at the camera because I am in the middle of traffic. But they're basically saying that they're all aware of what has happened.
This is a live report from death row in Tennessee.
Yeah, I've gotten messaged by a couple of those guys. They're all aware of what happened. They're all aware that the vein, they couldn't find a vein. They're all aware that it was absolutely horrible. And of course, for them, it's terrifying because, they are worried that they're going to be the next experiment for the state of Tennessee.
Unbelievable. Thanks for phoning that in, Jeff. With that, we now know that this execution is probably not going to go forward today. if at all. We'll see what happens. Now, what we do know, of course, is after Alabama messed it up several times, they changed to gas suffocation executions. We also know that because Idaho messed it up with Thomas Creech, they moved to the firing squad and are getting busy getting their firing squad stadium together. So, this sort of thing doesn't stop executions. What it does do is it forces them to shift their method of execution, maybe. Tennessee has already had a pause because it turned out they were not even following their own execution protocol. So we'll see. We will see what this does. Maybe Governor Lee will grow a spine and say we're not doing this anymore. Who knows? But for now, what that does mean is that it's a rare day when we get to leave an execution and the prisoner is still alive. Not as rare as it used to be, but that's our situation today. And with that, I'm going to note that there's another execution scheduled in just a few hours in Florida. That virtual vigil will start at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I guess at this point, it's we get to shut this down. Say thank you for everybody that has been watching with us and standing vigil together with us as we prayerfully protest the fact of executions, or in this case, legalized lynching. But Tony Carruthers lives. Tony Carruthers is still alive. He is back in his cell, we are told. And with that, again, I'm going to share my screen one last time.
Hey, before you do that, I just wanted to say, you already mentioned this, but I think it is very important to see this certainly as a beautiful thing. I'm very glad he's still alive, but we also have to make sure that we are constantly understanding that every botched execution leads to these more exotic experimental methods. And that's not to say we want anybody to die, but it is to say that this botched execution, we can't get comfortable. We have to understand that we've got to fight even harder to make sure that hypoxia, nitrogen executions, nitrogen suffocation doesn't find its way to Tennessee, and even more exotic forms of execution don't find their way elsewhere.
Thank you for that, Jeff. I'm sharing my screen and showing hold on, just telling Kevin that the execution is off for sure. Kevin, the execution is called off for sure. Okay, and we have so Kevin is there and at the prison, not wanting to leave until he knew that it was off. This is Evan Mealens, who's reporting for the Tennessean and apparently other newspapers. 6 minutes ago, Tennessee prison officials say they called off the execution of Tony Carruthers after repeated failures to establish an IV line for lethal injection. And so that's where that is. And with that, I'm going to pop over here to, this is the March for Mercy page from on death penalty action. You can see us lining up to begin our march from the death row prison at Riverbend maximum security institution to the state capitol, which we do on the Sunday prior to the execution in Tennessee. And you can also see who knows what's going to happen with Tony Carruthers. But August 13th, they're going to try to kill Darrell Hines. Maybe this will result in another year or two of pause for executions in Tennessee. And as you'll see at the end of this video that I'm about to play, we made an adjustment to it that we did fix, but haven't replaced it here to show that executions have been paused in Tennessee, and hopefully they will be paused forever. We'll see.
This is sacred ground.
Anyway,
it is
thanks for being with
ground.
us, and we'll see you
and
back
on
at 5
Thursday
o'clock.
night, it's going to be a place of murder. A murder that doesn't have to happen, but one that has happened now over and over and over again under a supposed pro-life governor that could stop any of these murders with a phone call.
There is no redemption with the death penalty. There is no hope with the death penalty. We pray that Governor Bill Lee will live up to what he writes on Twitter.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Christians, we are the problem. The death penalty would not stand a chance in America if it weren't for the support of Christians. 95% of executions are happening in the Bible Belt. So we are raising up our voices, right? To stand up for mercy, to stand up for life.
We won't be silent anymore. Everybody say somebody's hurting our children and it's gone on far too long.